about my birth, like me giving birth, not my birth. You probably knew that. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ariel. I'm a mommy and a makeup lover, and no big deal, but you know I film YouTube videos. I do it every once in a while, once a week for now, until your girl can get a little more free time, because I have a 5-month-old and it is hard to get free time with such a tiny little baby. But yeah, I am wearing makeup that I've been wearing since 11 a.m. No, probably like 12. But this is not going to be a makeup tutorial. Today's video is going to be one that was requested by you guys, and it is going to be my postpartum being a mom experience. A lot of you guys requested me to do a pregnancy Q&A video, and then a lot of you guys requested like a video about my experience as a young mom. If I were to film both those videos in one, I would have like a 45-minute video. So I thought that I would make the first video, which I think is a little bit more of an important topic, but about me giving birth and my postpartum slash new mom experience. And then if you guys still want more, I'll film the actual pregnancy video for you. We're going to be talking postpartum depression. We're going to be talking mentally repairing yourself as a mom. We're going to be talking baby blues. We're going to talk about everything that comes with being a first-time mom. And I think this video will be helpful for people of all ages. And I think that it's good to sit down and to talk about what women go through, because I think that it gets overlooked, the stress and the pressures of being a mom a lot of the times, and staying home with the baby doesn't get the recognition it needs. And I want to speak on it on my channel because I'm a full-time mom. But if you are interested in more videos like this, then give this video a thumbs up. Comment video ideas down below. Follow me on my social medias where you can message me and talk to me if this video hits home, or if you're relating to any of the topics in this video and you need someone to talk to. So without further delay, let's go ahead and jump right on into this video. All right, you guys, so it's a little weird to be doing a video where I'm not like filming a makeup tutorial, like no eyeshadow, no nothing. I have no makeup in front of me. I even have like my makeup mirror next to me. It's crazy. So we're doing this. It's going to be really authentic, just me sitting here talking to you guys. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay, so I was 21 when I got pregnant, 22 when I gave birth. So I'm not a teen mom, but I am a very young mom. From the moment I got pregnant, I knew that I wanted to be a mom. I wasn't hesitant. I didn't, second guess it. I was just like, all right, I'm pregnant. Can't wait to be a mom. I did have a rough pregnancy, but like I said, I will make a separate video talking about the 9 months that I spent pregnant. I had hyperemesis. I threw up a lot. I had placenta previa. I had a lot of conditions where I had to be home and on bed rest 24/7. And I moved into a new apartment while I was pregnant. So I was at my new apartment. Everything was settled. I went for my 38-week appointment. At the end of your pregnancy, they do appointments every week. You go in every week. They check everything out, see if you're dilated. I had an ultrasound at the beginning of the appointment, and then I sat in the doctor's office for what felt like 3 days, but it was probably like an hour, waiting for the doctor to come in. And he's like, oh, sorry, it took so long. I just needed to look through your ultrasound, and there's a problem. Your baby hasn't grown since about December. This was March 1st because it was the day before she was born. And the doctor was like, your baby hasn't grown since December, so we're a little worried. So we're just going to have you drive over to the hospital. We're going to get you checked in, and we're going to induce labor, and you're going to have a baby. And I was like, excuse me? I'm going to have a what now? And it was funny because, I'm pregnant. So I'm like, I expected the baby part, but I had went to the doctor's appointment on my own because my mom was at work and I didn't have anybody to go with. Reina's dad's in the army, so he was on base. So I usually went with my mom, or like a friend went with me, or like my sister-in-law went with me a lot. So nobody had gone with me this one time. And this just happened to be the time that I had to go give birth. So, of course, I got in my car, and the first thing I did was I texted her dad. I was like, hey, I'm in labor. Do you think you could come? He was like, of course not. It's the army. But it's okay, you know. Like I said, not his fault. So then I called my mom at work, and I was like, hey, mom, so I have to go have this baby. Do you think you could leave work? I didn't say it like that, but you know what I mean. We had that conversation where I was like, hey, I'm going to be induced because there's something wrong with the baby's growth. So do you think you could go home and get my overnight bag and the baby bag and meet me at the hospital? And she was like, yeah, my mom doesn't drive. She's terrified of driving, so she's never had a license. So her coworker, Kevin, shout out to Kevin, took her to the house to pick up my stuff and took her to the hospital for me. But it took her a couple hours to get there, so I was waiting there for her. But I'm not going to dwell on my labor story too long because it will take a long time. But they induced me. I was responding to the Pitocin while I was contracting and stuff like that. And then I had a hemorrhage in my placenta. I started to bleed, so they had to rush me in for emergency C-section. I wasn't put under. I was numbed from the neck down. I was open. I was awake during my C-section. There was a little curtain blocking me from the show, but yeah, it was painless. I didn't feel anything. I could feel them pull the baby out, like you could feel them just yank, but it's like if someone were to like go like this, like tug on your skin. Not even the pinch you feel, just the tugging sensation. That's what I felt. And then I heard the baby cry, and I started crying. She weighed 5 pounds when she was born. Her name is Raina Marie. She only weighed 5 pounds, was small. She was fully developed. Her lungs were fine. Her organ function was fine. Everything was great. The NICU doctors took a look at her, and they decided that she didn't need to be in NICU, even though she was small. So I spent 3 days at the hospital, the standard 3 days, you know, when you have a C-section. Make sure I use the bathroom properly, make sure that the catheter didn't cause any problems, make sure that my body is healing okay. And then I got home. And being in the hospital with your newborn is like a completely different ballgame than when you arrive at home. Like in the hospital, I was like, this is great parenting, I can do this. You know, she slept all day in her little bassinet. They were like, don't put her on the bed, that's fine. I was able to stay awake all night for feedings and not worry. If something went wrong, I pushed my button and the nurse was there in 3 seconds, you know. And I was really comfortable in the hospital, and I didn't feel any emotions like any baby blues. Everyone's like, you're gonna feel baby blues, you're gonna go through depression after you give birth when your hormones adjust. I didn't feel any of that in the hospital. I felt like a super mom in the hospital. I was like, I got this is gonna be cake. I'm gonna be killing the game, you know. And then I got through my front door. Literally, my friend had taken us home. We parked my car. I took the little baby carrier out. Well, my mom took it because I couldn't lift because I had stitches from the C-section and glue. And we walked in my front door, and my dog was waiting for me. I've had my dog for, she's sleeping right there actually. I've had my dog for 8 years. I've had my dog since 2009, and she was literally this big when I got her. Like, she could fit here. She slept right here because she was so tiny, and she's grown with me. So my dog is old. She's an elderly dog. She's 8 years old. She's my best friend. I call her my fur baby because, you know, she's like my kid. And I got home, and she was so excited to see me. And like the shift between the protective instinct of like, okay, there's a dog and I have a new baby, and oh my god, I'm excited to see my dog, which is usually where I would head to, because if I ever went on vacation or stayed at a friend's house, when I got home, it was all about my dog. Like kisses, hugs, oh my gosh, I miss you, take a nap together, you know. It was like reunited, and it feels so good. But the shift between how is the dog going to respond to my new child, who I'm getting this protective, instinctual, kill whoever bothers her urge for, and my dog being like, hey mom, where have you been, was really hard for me. That's when it really hit me, because I felt different towards my dog. I still love my dog. My dog is still my fur baby, but I knew that if she didn't respond to the baby well, my instinct would be protect the baby. And that was really hard for me to like comprehend. And I just started crying, like hysterically crying. My mom was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel the same way for Juju. My dog's name is Juliet. I call her Juju. I don't feel the same thing for Juju. And that's when it all started. That's when the emotional shift really started. My mom stayed home with me for the first week, and then she left work early for the second week. So I had her support the whole time because, like I said, Raina's dad is in the army, and he couldn't make it down right away. So my mom stayed home with me. It was an adjustment, but babies sleep a lot for those first few weeks, and then they go through this thing where they wake up. It's like the doctors talk about it, like when your baby's a couple weeks old, it'll wake up, where your baby actually starts to be awake for like more than just the feedings, and like you actually start to interact with your baby. So by the time my baby woke up, by the time she started to be more alert and awake and stuff, my mom was already back at work. So it was just me and the baby, which is what I signed on for because I knew what was going on. I knew that her dad wouldn't be around because he was in the army. I always knew that I was going to be a solo parent. I don't say single parent because I'm not a single parent. He's very supportive. He does everything he needs to do. He just can't make it down in person as much as he would like to because, like I said, he's in the army. I always knew that I was going to do this more so me and my mom rather than me and her dad because, like I said, he couldn't physically be here. And I had heard about postpartum, and my doctor told me that I was inclined to it because I had a history of depression and anxiety. I had a very bad history of depression and anxiety in my teens. I say my teens like I'm so old now, but that was like yesterday. But like when I was around 15, 16, first starting out high school, those stage you go through when you're like awkward and trying to figure out where you're going with your life. I had a history of depression and anxiety. I had a history of depression because I got out of a really bad relationship. If you guys want a video on that, I could talk to you about it, like mental abuse in a relationship, not so much physical, but I could film that. I had gotten out of a really bad relationship like 4 years before I got pregnant, and I had the history of depression. Like I've never been like a non-anxious person. I have anxiety to this day. I still shake like. You see that? That's just my general state. I'm socially awkward. That's how I've always been. So my doctor was like, you might deal with postpartum after you give birth. In those first 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. I was okay. I was up during the feedings. I was doing great. But then when my mom went back to work, it got really hard for me. And it was because I was like home alone and my baby had colic. She was a very colicky baby and she has baby reflux. So she would get like acid reflux after her bottle. She would spit up a lot. She would cry. She'd be in pain. Her stomach would hurt. And when it comes to babies, they only have one form of communication. Like the only thing that they know to get you to understand that something is wrong, that they need to say something, that they need to express themselves is through crying. So she's hungry, she cries. She pees, she cries. She poops, she cries. She's tired, she cries. Anything that she needs to express is through cries as a baby because that's the only thing that they know how to do. So it would be hard for me to listen to her cry all day because I would feel like I wasn't fixing the problem and like I was failing her. I was being a bad mom because she was crying, but it was really just colicky babies cry. Some babies cry for 8 hours a day. The doctors explained all that to me, but it wasn't enough for me. And it took me a while to realize that I was going through like postpartum anxiety and I was going through like post-traumatic stress from how traumatic my birth was because I was really blindsided by like going to a doctor's appointment one day to having a baby the next day. I had a C-section. My C-section scar opened up and I had to have it reclosed. I had to have it packed. And I had trouble healing. I got sick right after my C-section. And if you've ever had a C-section, if you cough with that stitch brand new, it feels like it's ripping open every time you cough or sneeze. And I was in hell. And being home alone with her was like, it was hard. It was like suffocating. It felt like, it felt overwhelming because as much as I wanted to make sure she was okay, as much as I wanted to fix everything, it's like she still cried. And I couldn't accept the fact that she was crying because babies cry. It took me so long to be able to accept the fact that babies cry because they need to cry. That's how they tell you things. Every time she cried, I was like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I so bad at this? Why am I a bad mom? I went through it. And I had a really good support system. They say that it takes a village to raise a child, and I had nothing shy of a village. My mom was really supportive. I had a friend who was really supportive. I had my brother, his girlfriend, my brother's best friend, who was also a mom. She was in the army. She really understood what I was going through. She was very supportive, and they all did what they could do, and they all tried to move mountains for me, but they all had working schedules that they had 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays, or like my brother, he worked overnight, so the daytime was sleep for him. Or my brother's best friend had, Tuesdays and Thursdays off, and she would try to come by as much as she could, and so would my brother, and so would his girlfriend. They would come by at night for like the first month after they both, like my brother would wake up from either doing, like, he does a morning shift sometimes, and then he would do the overnight. Other times he would either come by before going to his overnight or come by in the afternoon after he did his morning shift, which would be from like 6 a.m. And my brother's girlfriend, she would spend 2 hours in traffic commuting home from like a 10-mile distance that she worked at in Miami traffic. That's a lifetime. And they would still come here, even if it was at 9 o'clock at night for 10 minutes, they would come here. And I really did have a village. I had a strong support system, and I still fell into that postpartum depression, and I had to really go and talk to someone about it. I really just try to stuff those feelings down, and I think that a lot of moms do that. They try to stuff their feelings down because they feel like they don't have the right. I felt like I didn't have the right to be depressed because I just had a baby, and this is the happiest time of my life, and I was so excited to be a mom. Don't get me wrong, I did not regret becoming a mom. I didn't feel that some moms go through postpartum in a way where they feel like their baby was a mistake, or they feel hostility towards their baby, or they feel like they want to hurt their baby, and that is a terrifying thought. And to the moms who make it through that, you are warriors. You are the strongest women I know, and my hat's off to you, because I would not be able to imagine dealing with that. But I did go through postpartum in the sense where I got really overwhelmed when my baby cried, not because I was like, please make it stop, or I don't want to deal with her when she was crying, but because I was like, why is she crying? What am I doing wrong? Why am I a terrible mom? That was my whole feeling for like 2 months after I gave birth. I was like, why am I a bad mom? Why is my baby crying? And my doctors explained it. They were like, your baby is colicky, your baby has reflux, she's in pain, she's crying because that's the only form of communication she knows. And I couldn't grasp that idea, and it would be so bad where I would get panic attacks when she was crying. I would sit there and I would cry with her. Like, I would just hold her and cry with her because I would be so sad that she was sad, and I would be so distraught that she was distraught. And I would get panic attacks, my chest would feel tight, I would hyperventilate, stop being able to breathe. I would feel like I was going to pass out. I was so bad. My mom would have to come home early from work sometimes. She would have to, take days off to deal with it. And it took me a while, but at some point I was finally like, you know what? It is time for me to go see a doctor. It is time for me to go talk to someone, because I can't keep feeling like this. I will never be the kind of mother that my baby deserves if I'm feeling like this. And I used to think that I wasn't entitled to take care of myself because I was a mom, but then I realized that the key to taking care of my daughter was that I needed to take care of myself. So I went to the doctor. I went to see my doctor, and I was like, I'm feeling this, this, and this. He was like, go see a psychologist, and I did. I got medicine. She told me, she was like, I think you're having a lot of PTSD from your birth, because there were symptoms that related to PTSD that I didn't even put together until I talked to the doctor. Like, I would wake up sweating from, dreams about giving birth, or like the sad moment where I felt blood, and or the moment my heart sank when the doctor told me that the baby wasn't growing. And I blamed myself for all of that. You know, I felt like I was not being a good mom when she was in my belly because I couldn't get her to grow. And I had a lot of stress from that, and I would jump with loud noises when my dog barked. I've had this dog for 8 years, so I'm conditioned to when her bark happens, it doesn't faze me. And now I'm getting back to it where when she barks, I'm just like, okay, you know. But at first it'd be like, oh my gosh, she's barking, and I would freak out at loud noises. I would jump in my sleep and things like that. And my doctor, she was like, you're having PTSD from your stressful delivery. You're having postpartum, anxiety, because you're worried that your baby's crying too much and you feel like you're not doing enough. And she told me I needed to get on some antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicines. Now, for a lot of women, that is the solution for them. But as someone who dealt with depression most of my teenage life and who's taken probably A through Z of those, not really, but I've been on a lot of those medicines. I keep going back. I went back to teenage me where I felt numb and I felt nothing and I just felt balanced and weird. And I mean, balance is usually a good word, but with antidepressants, sometimes you feel balanced in a weird way. But the doctor was like, no, this is going to be different. You're going through a lot of hormonal changes. There's a big hormonal shift when you give birth. And these are things that, I knew, but I sort of needed to be told. But there's a big hormonal shift when you give birth because all the hormones that your body was pumping into this baby, they're gone. Your body's going back to the way it was before you were pregnant, and you've been pregnant for 9 months. So you had just adjusted to your new hormonal balance for it to be taken away, and that's why every woman goes through baby blues, which usually disappear in 1 or 2 weeks. You're sad and you up to a month, your baby blues, but when it's an extended sadness, that's when they feel that you're in the postpartum end of the spectrum. And that's where I was, because I felt the blues at first, but they disappeared, and then I felt the real postpartum kick in. And the doctor was like, you need to try the medicine. So I got the medicine, and I took that medicine for a month. That was it for me. I could not do more than a month on those medicines, because after a month, I started to feel that balanced feeling that I don't like. So in that month, I was able to regain control. I was able to implement some of the techniques that I had implemented for my anxiety when I was a teen. Breathing, relaxing, reminding myself that babies cry because they need to express themselves, and really fine-tune my listening and focus on listening to the signals that my daughter was giving me. Because when you're a new mom, you don't know, like a first-time mom, even with your second kid, you don't really know what each cry means. But after a month or two, you kind of learn, you get into a routine. Okay, she's fed, she's burped, she's changed, she's napped, she's just crying, and you kind of just have to hug her tight and let her do it. And these are techniques that I had to implement. And after a month of the medicine, I weaned myself off. I still have days where I feel overwhelmed, but I weaned myself off, and I dealt with the postpartum, like, real depression part of my mom story, and I'm in a better place, and I'm really happy with that. But being a mom is the role of a lifetime. It is the role of a lifetime. That's the only way I could seem to explain it. Especially being home with my baby all day. I spend 24 hours a day with my baby, 7 days a week, unless I get out for like an hour or two to go to the mall or to Target or to Walmart. And most of the time it's for groceries or baby needs. I've gone out with my friends a handful of times, and thank God my mom is supportive enough to let me do that, because she knows I need a break. But being at home with a baby is hard. There's a lot of women who wake up every morning and they don't think about themselves till they go to sleep at night, and their husbands go to work and they come home and they're like, you've been home all day, you don't do anything. But let me tell you this, to all the men listening to this video, being a full-time mom is a job. Okay? Yes, you go to your full-time job, but just because we are here does not mean we are not doing a full-time job either. Raising a kid is not you sitting at home watching Jerry Springer all day. It is a full-time job. And what I'm doing is a full-time job. And I get tired from it. I don't sleep well at night because I have my baby next to me and she tosses and turns. Every time she wakes up, I wake up. Every time she makes a weird noise, I wake up. And that's just the mom in me. And that never goes away. You know, that's not something that ever disappears. And I went through hell probably from the time she was 1 to 2 months. I went through hell. 2 to 3 months, I was on my medication. And then after 3 months, it started to pick up for me. She got more independent at 3 months. You know, she started to do things on her own, and she kind of got into her own swing. You know, you could put her down to play and stuff like that, and it alleviates some of the stress, because when you first do the parenting thing, when you bring a baby home, you don't pee on your own schedule, you don't take showers on your own schedule, you don't eat on your own schedules, you don't watch TV on your own schedule. Everything revolves around what the baby needs. If the baby is crying when you have to pee, you better sit on that toilet with that baby in your hand, you know, shh, it's okay, or you better hold it. You know what I mean? If you're hungry while that baby is crying, you're not eating until that baby is asleep, you know? If you need to take a shower and that baby is not asleep, you're not going to be able to take that shower. I can't even take the shower while my baby's asleep unless she's literally in the shower with me in like her little bassinet. But that's just some things that moms go through. We go through that. And this was kind of me sharing my experience with you, and I want to wrap this video up with kind of like my advice for new moms, me talking to anybody watching this video who might be pregnant or who just gave birth or who's going through postpartum depression or who's going through baby blues or anything like that, to women in general. Okay, like if you ever seen the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, the intro says females are strong as hell, and it is 1000% the most accurate thing that I could ever tell you. You are so strong as a woman. You are engineered to be strong. You are engineered to kill it. We are bred to be fighters. We are strong. So if you are a new mom and you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you can't do it, or you feel so tired that you feel like you can't go on another day, yes, you can. And you will, because that little baby is all the motivation any woman will ever need. And if you're a mom, you could totally relate to that. And if you're not a mom, one day when you become a mom, you will relate to it so well. And if you want to become a mom, do not let this video discourage you from that, because going through everything I went through, I can't wait to do it again when my baby's like 4, you know, and I've settled into my life and stuff. I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to have I want another adorable little daughter so we could be like little mini versions of each other. I am so psyched that I got the honor that I was blessed and allowed to become a mother. And if you are a young mom and people are telling you it is the wrong thing to do to have a baby at your age, I'm not saying go out there and plan to get pregnant, because you know, you could hold off and do it when your life is set. But if you are struggling because you're pregnant and you want to be a mom, but people are telling you it's the wrong thing to do because you're so young, don't listen to those people. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to anybody who tells you anything about the way that you feel when it comes to the child that you birthed or that you are creating. When it comes to all that, if you can make eyelids out of nothing in your belly, you can be a mom at any age, you know? In the 1800s, people are having babies at 14. You know what I mean? The life expectancy was like 30. So you could be a mom at 20. You could be a mom at 16. You could be a mom at 50. Whatever your age is, if you think that that's a solid move for you, you do it and you be proud of it. And if you feel like you're struggling with it, go talk to somebody. Go see somebody. Get help. Talk to your mom if you're close to her, because I guarantee you your strongest support system will always be your mom. Talk to your boyfriend, husband, child's father's mom, because they've birthed someone too. They've been where you are. I didn't even know my mom went through postpartum until I had my own baby. You know what I mean? And I'm sure my daughter will not know it until she has her own baby too. But your family, your mom in particular, she might be mad at first. She might not support you at first, but she's going to love her grandkid more than anything else in this world. My mom will move heaven for her grandbaby. And she loved her from the beginning, but you know, some moms take a while to come around, and that's okay, because I think that if I were to ever deal with a young pregnant Raina, God forbid, knock on wood, I'd be mad at first too. I'd come around, but some moms, they need to come around to it. And if you are a young mom, if you are a young pregnant woman, I want to say to you that you're strong. You're just as validated as an older mom. You're just as right as an older mom. Your instincts are just as strong as an older mom. And if you're going through postpartum, or if you've been through postpartum and made it through, hats off to you. I know so many moms who went through postpartum, and they are the strongest women, and they have the strongest bonds to their babies. Even though they've gone through the postpartum phase, they have the strongest bond to their baby. They got through it, and they love their kids just like any other mom on the planet does, you know? And if you're going through postpartum, it can kind of feel like you're in a tunnel. It can kind of feel like you're looking like this, and you could only see this. You know, you could only see this one eye, but you're going to get through it. There's going to be an end to the tunnel, and the world is going to be out there, and you're going to snap into a routine where you just know what you're doing. You know, I went from crying in a corner with my baby when she was sad to, let's go, mommy, we got bath time at this time. She's got a whole schedule on that wall right there. I don't know if you can see, a whole schedule, and she loves her playtime, and she's so attached to me now. She doesn't want to spend 5 minutes without me. And I went from an anxiety-filled, terrified mess, thinking that I was the worst mom ever, to being this super mom. And I'm going to call myself a super mom. I'm going to do it because I am. Every mom is a super mom. If you are out there making an effort to be a mom, a good mom, you're a super mom. And if you're going through postpartum, if you're struggling, if you're unhappy, you know, talk to someone and deal with it, because the minute you get through that tunnel where you feel like there's no real happiness and you start to feel happy again, it's going to be like a switch. It's going to be like your whole world has opened up. And being a mom is the best thing. It is the biggest honor in your life. You know, I went through hell being pregnant. I went through hell giving birth. I went through hell in the beginning. And I still wouldn't change a moment of it. I wouldn't change a second. I wouldn't change anything. If I could go back in time and tell myself all of this, I would close it with, but it's the best thing ever. Because it really is. If you're a young mom, don't let anybody tell you that you're making a mistake doing this early in your life. It is not a mistake. It is a blessing. A child at any time is a blessing. You are strong enough to be a mom if you believe that you're strong enough to be a mom. And if you have people around you who will provide positive feedback, you need to cut out those friends that are telling you it's a mistake, even those family members that are telling you it's a mistake. Anybody that does not want to support you, you got to cut them out, and you got to focus on what's important. That's you and the life that you're creating. You create a person. I mean, like, does it get more special than that? You are making a whole baby from scratch. You are the reason she blinks. You're the reason, or he, I say she because I have a daughter. You're the reason that baby blinks, that baby walks, that baby will talk, that baby will graduate Harvard. Who knows? That baby will want to be a chef. It's all because you did that. You did that. You know, your boyfriend, your child's father, your husband, he started it. He gave it a little kickstart, but you did that. You built that baby. You know, she is literally a continuation of yourself. You give birth to her or him, and you know, you are valid in every feeling that you have. If you're struggling because you're home all day and you feel like you need a break from your baby, take a break because you deserve it. If you're struggling because you feel like you're depressed, don't feel like you can't be depressed because you're a new mom. You absolutely have a right to feel whatever you feel, because it is a roller coaster of emotions being a parent, especially a new parent, especially a new mom. And if you don't have anybody to talk to, send me a message, send me a DM. If you're struggling with postpartum, if you're struggling with, depression, baby blues, if you need help figuring out how to put your baby on a schedule or what cues to pick up on your baby, or if your baby has something that you want to talk to me about, please do it. Please reach out to me and, talk to me, talk to a doctor, and get yourself in a mental state where you are your 100%, because once you're 100%, you can be 100% of a mom, and a baby needs 100% of a mom. And don't ever feel like you need to put yourself on the back burner for your baby, You need to make sure that you're 100% so that you can be a good mom. And that would be my advice for young moms, is to just always remember that you're doing the right thing. You're doing an incredible job. Nobody could do that job better than you're doing it right now, because you specially designed that baby so that you could be its mom. You know what I mean? So everything that you're doing, every decision that you make, you have that baby's best interest in heart, because you made that baby. And if you're dealing with postpartum, if you're struggling with baby blues, if you're feeling sad, talk to somebody. Please don't let yourself get in that mood or that mental state where you think that your feelings are invalid. They are, and you need to talk to somebody, and you need to get it off your chest, and you need to get yourself into a state where you could be 100%. And I could go on for the next, it's already been like 40 minutes. I could go on for the next 3 years about this topic, because I feel so passionately about it. And I can make more videos like this talking to you guys about mom stuff and my experiences as a mom, because like I said, I'm a mom and a makeup lover. And if you guys are interested in both aspects of me in this channel, I would 1000% be glad to film that for you. But I don't want this video to drag on for the next 10 years. So I'm going to wrap it up on that end. Like I said, if you need to talk to me about anything, follow me on all my social medias, which are going to flash across the screen as soon as this video is over. Follow me on my social medias and message me. I will answer your message, except on Snapchat. But if you message me on Facebook or Instagram, I will answer your message. And if you comment on this video, I will talk to you. And if you want to see more videos like this or different topics similar to this, leave them in the comments, and I will definitely film those for you guys. And it's been a pleasure to talk to you guys, and it's been amazing to talk about these things and get some of it off my chest. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, check out some of my makeup tutorials that are on a much lighter note. And if you like those, and if you like me, don't forget to subscribe, follow me on all my social medias, and I guess I'll close this video out. Bye guys.